Olivia doesn't have much going on anyway. She can just babysit the kids. That's what my family whispered behind my back while I was working myself to the bone, planning my sister's luxury wedding completely for free. For months, I was their unpaid event planner, but when I found out they secretly planned to turn me into a daycare service for 12 toddlers on the big day, something inside me snapped. I didn't scream, and I didn't confront them. Instead, I quietly picked up my phone, canceled every single vendor, and booked myself a luxury suite at a 5-star hotel. When Saturday morning arrived, there was no food, no decorations, and absolute chaos, and I was sipping a cocktail, watching it all burn down from a balcony across town. My name is Olivia. Right now, I'm sitting on the balcony of my hotel suite, sipping a cocktail as I watch the city lights flicker below. The air is warm, and the sound of the river flowing nearby is soothing. It's hard to believe that just a few days ago, my world was turned upside down. The day of my sister Isabella's wedding was supposed to be a beautiful, joyous occasion. Instead, it turned into a complete disaster. But while chaos reigned supreme across town, I was sitting here, finally enjoying my peace. I remember the exact moment my phone started buzzing non-stop on Saturday morning. The first message flashed across the screen: "Isabella, where are you?" The caterers aren't here. I just smiled, taking a sip of my coffee. As I let the phone ring, my mind drifted back to the weeks leading up to this fiasco. Our family was part of the upper-middle-class community in Boston. On the surface, we seemed perfect. We had regular family dinners, and we always looked picture-perfect in our holiday photos. But behind closed doors, things were very different. I was the responsible one, the one who always took care of everything. My parents, Richard and Elizabeth, were constantly busy with their high-profile lives. Dad was a corporate lawyer, always focused on his clients, and Mom was a socialite who spent most of her time at charity events. Isabella, on the other hand, was the spoiled one, the golden child. She was used to getting whatever she wanted, and I was always expected to clean up her messes. When Isabella got engaged to her fiancé, Henry, I didn't hesitate to offer to plan her wedding. I'm an event planner by profession, and I thought it would be a great way to show my love for my sister. I spent months working on every single detail, from the table layouts to the color palettes. I compared floral arrangements and tasted countless menus. Every night, my living room was filled with fabric swatches, sample candles, and vendor lists. My parents were proud to brag to their friends about their daughter, the event planner. But they never once offered to help. They just assumed I would handle it all, as I always did. I told myself it was out of family love, the kind of love that expects nothing in return. I just wanted Isabella's special day to be perfect. A week before the wedding, the city was in full bloom. The trees were covered in blossoms, and the air smelled sweet. I was driving across town every morning to coordinate deliveries at the elegant garden venue. The work was exhausting, but satisfying. Then, one night, I came home early. As I walked into the house, I heard my parents and Isabella talking in the living room. Dad's voice was calm, as if he was discussing a business deal. "No need to hire a sitter. Olivia can handle the kids," he said. Mom laughed softly. "Olivia doesn't have much going on anyway." Isabella chimed in. "Yeah, she's good with kids. She won't mind." They had planned it all. There were going to be 12 children at the wedding from various family members and relatives. They were creating a mini daycare in the middle of a formal reception and forcing me to run it. I leaned against the wall, my heart pounding. Hearing my name being tossed around like I was a disposable service, not a person, felt like a punch in the gut. I wanted to walk in and confront them, but I froze. Instead, I crept upstairs and opened my wedding binder. I stared at all the notes I'd written in neat cursive, the color codes, the timelines, and the vendor deposits paid under my name. For the first time, all that order felt like a cage. That night, I realized I wasn't their daughter. I was their free labor. I didn't sleep at all. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan, its blades cutting through the darkness. Every sound from downstairs reminded me of how much I'd been taken for granted. By morning, my anger had turned into a cold, focused emptiness. That afternoon, I drove downtown to meet my best friend, Lily, at a trendy coffee shop called The Beanery. Lily walked in late, her briefcase in hand. One look at my face, and she knew something was wrong. Who did what? She asked before even sitting down. I told her everything, how I'd spent months planning Isabella's dream wedding, and how my family had just volunteered me to babysit a dozen kids like it was part of the package. Lily's expression shifted from disbelief to pure disgust. That's not family, Olivia. That's exploitation, she said, crossing her arms. I laughed bitterly. Yeah, but that's how it's always been. I'm the fixer. Lily's voice got sharp. Then stop fixing. Let them deal with the consequences for once. Her words hit me like a bolt of lightning. When I got home, I opened my wedding binder again. I flipped to the first page, where I'd written Isabella and Henry's wedding in elegant silver ink. Without thinking, I tore it out. The paper ripped cleanly down the middle. I sat there for a long time, surrounded by the pieces of my own effort. Then, a calm silence filled the room. I opened my laptop, pulled up my vendor list, and started making calls. First, the catering company. The manager answered cheerfully. Hi, this is Olivia Thompson. I need to cancel the catering order for the Thompson wedding this Saturday, I said, my voice completely steady. There was a long pause on the other end. All of it? Yes, all of it, I replied. The manager hesitated. But we're fully booked. There's a cancellation deposit. Send the invoice to Richard Thompson, I said, and hung up. I continued down the list. I called the decor vendor, the lighting company, and the rental service. Each call was easier than the last. I didn't shout, and I didn't explain. I just unbuilt the wedding I'd created, piece by piece. That night, I booked a luxury suite at a hotel overlooking the Charles River. Just for the weekend, I needed a place where I didn't have to fix anything. By noon the next day, the wedding I'd planned was completely gone, and all that was left was the invisible trap my family had set for themselves. I forwarded every single cancellation email and invoice to my father with a simple note, future correspondence should go to you. When I checked into the hotel, the clerk handed me a key card with a warm smile. Enjoy your stay, Miss Thompson. The suite smelled of fresh flowers and clean linen. I ordered coffee, set my phone on silent, and just let the world go on without me. By Friday evening, Isabella started texting. Hey, are the table runners in your car? Mom says the florist can't reach you. Her messages piled up, each one showing her growing panic. I didn't reply. Instead, I ran a bath, poured myself a glass of wine, and opened my laptop to work on a new project folder, Olivia Thompson Event Designs. The night before the wedding, my dad texted, "We need you at the garden by 7 a.m. No excuses. I typed back a short response, "I won't be there." Then I turned my phone face down. Saturday morning arrived, bright and beautiful. But across town, Isabella's dream wedding was actively imploding. My phone started buzzing nonstop. I let it ring for a while, then finally answered. Isabella's panicked voice pierced through the speaker. Olivia, where are you? The tables are bare, the food's not coming, and there are so many kids running around. No one knows what to do. She cried. Sounds like a mess, I said calmly, looking out at the river. Olivia, this isn't funny. You were supposed to be here. We can't fix this without you. She snapped. Funny, that's exactly what you said about me a week ago. That I don't have much going on and could handle everything, I replied softly. She gasped. You can't just walk away. It's my wedding, and it was my work. But you didn't seem to care about that, I said. There was a long silence on her end, broken only by the distant sounds of shouting and crying children. Then Isabella's voice cracked. Please, Olivia, I'm begging you. I let the moment hang in the air. Don't wait for me, and don't wait for the buffet, I said, and hung up. For the next few hours, I ignored my phone entirely. I read a magazine, ordered room service, and took my time with breakfast. By noon, the updates started pouring in from outside sources. Lily texted me a screenshot from a guest's Instagram story. It showed rows of empty tables, wilted flowers, and kids in formal clothes running completely wild. The caption read, "When your planner quits on the wedding day." #chaos. I laughed out loud, not out of cruelty, but out of sheer disbelief at how quickly they fell apart without their designated scapegoat. Another text came from one of Mom's friends, gossiping that Dad was furious, Isabella was locked in a bathroom crying, and Mom was pretending to faint to avoid embarrassment. In the afternoon, I went down to the hotel spa for a massage. As the therapist worked the tension out of my shoulders, I thought about all the times I'd sacrificed my own happiness for my family. It was finally over. When I came back to my room, I had 27 missed calls. Dad had left a voicemail, his voice shaking with fury and panic. "Olivia, you've made your point. Come clean this up right now. You're embarrassing us." I deleted it. The next day, my inbox revealed the aftermath. They had scrambled to hire a last-minute catering service that served basic sandwich trays for 150 people, and it cost them $3,000. Half of the guests had left early, and people were already calling it the most awkward wedding in Boston history. My cousin Jake, who had been there, texted me, "You were right to walk away. Uncle Richard tried to blame you, but everyone saw right through it." Aunt Elizabeth cried when a literal food truck showed up, and Isabella won't talk to anyone. I replied, "Thanks, Jake. Some lessons come at a high price." That night, Isabella called me. Her voice was small and full of regret. "Olivia, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel used." I let her words hang in the air for a beat. "You didn't make me feel used, Isabella. You made me realize I was," I said quietly. She didn't reply. I heard a shaky breath, then a whisper. "We'll never fix this, will we?" I thought about it for a moment. You never fixed anything before. So why start now? And with that, I ended the call. 2 days later, I drove back home. The air felt lighter, like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. My house was quiet. On the kitchen table, the morning sunlight illuminated my laptop, which was open to my new business folder, Olivia Thompson Event Designs. My very first independent clients had already replied with an enthusiastic yes. Aunt Patricia texted me later that afternoon. I was at the wedding. "They deserved every bit of it. You did the right thing." Her words felt like a warm hug. Out of curiosity, I checked social media one last time. Photos of the chaotic wedding were everywhere with captions like, "Disaster Wedding" and "Mismanaged." But notably, none of them mentioned my name. For once, the chaos didn't belong to me. A week later, I stood in my brand new office downtown. Sunlight streamed through the big glass windows, my design sketches were pinned neatly to the wall, and my name was proudly printed on the glass door, Olivia Thompson, Event Designer. My phone buzzed with a text from Lily, "Told you they'd learn the hard way." I smiled, sipping my coffee. Maybe they finally did, but regardless of whether they learned their lesson, I learned mine. Family doesn't mean servitude. Sometimes, walking away is the loudest way to say enough. If you've ever had to walk away from people who took your kindness for weakness, even if they were family, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. See you in the next one.